A lot of people are worried about the NSA having access to people's phone records. We've got video of one man who's a bit over the top in his concern. So let's listen and then we'll speculate as to why he's so worried.
Here's why it's all BS. Did you hear about the IRS scandal? Did you hear about the IRS taking personal information and feeding it out to left-wing websites? Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
You tell me that can't happen here?
Well,
absolutely can happen. So, for example, some conservative senator calls Trixie at the Hot Licks massage parlor, all right? Guess who knows it? And guess who can put it out
that's the question.
Any time they want?
Do they know it, or is it knowable? We don't know the answer to that.
I know the answer to it.
He knows. He's part of that NSA. No, look, the funny thing is I agree with O'Reilly, but I loved his example. The Hot Licks massage?
I don't agree with O'Reilly even
Atlanta.
a little, not even a half a second. You don't call a massage parlor ahead of time to schedule an appointment. You just
Well,
walk
what if
in.
Trixie's popular?
Yeah, right. You take who's ever available. Jesus.
Maybe he plans it out ahead of time. Look, Bill O'Reilly is now a single man, so he can go to any massage parlor he likes, and he can call ahead if he likes. Although you're right, it's a little weird.
Megyn Kelly's smart. I used to confuse her with the Who I used to confuse her with?
Gretchen Carlson?
Thank you, Gretchen Carlson. And
she's smarter.
But she's way smarter, right? Because she's like just instantly like, is it known or is it knowable? Meaning they just have, they got the records, but we don't know. They got to go get it to find out what was actually said in the conversation. That's something that's interesting, though, is like to go back to just very quickly in 10 seconds each, with 300 million Americans and knowing who you called and when you called, is it the conversation? No one's listening to your conversations. Are they stored? Can they get our conversation from last week, or do they have to know ahead of time to record it? Is everything getting recorded? How much space is on that fucking DVR in the NSA?
Well, that's the thing. That's why they're building the center in Bluffdale, Utah, and that's a $2 billion center, 3 times the size of the Capitol, because they plan to capture every single piece of data that happens in the United States.
The conversations, because audio files take up, like on my iPhone, a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a tech expert, but that appears to be the plan of big data.
But do we even know
those.
what's capable then? Do we know now that if you and I spoke last week that they can go get that conversation? Or is that
my understanding based on inside sources at AT&T, and this was during the Bush years, is that they have set up interceptors at all those different outlets, like the one in San Francisco, et cetera, so that they can and do capture the phone conversations, but don't necessarily listen to them.
And then they're stored forever and cataloged? How do they find it?
And that, of course, is information that we don't know. That's secret.
Also, we know what happens if we go to the AT&T center and try to capture those conversations for calls in New York, Los Angeles, or San Francisco.
Right.
Hello? 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 I can't fucking hear them. I got nothing.
And that's why they don't listen to them, because it drives them crazy.
Right, exactly. That's probably what the happiest thing for Verizon about this story breaking. They're like, Verizon, because they know the calls are good. You can hear the terrorist plot.
So, look, O'Reilly said it in a funny way, and it's fun to make fun of him, but he's right that we do know who, like the government does know who we're calling. And if you're calling, the examples I keep using is your bookie or an escort service, et cetera. Drug dealer, whatever it might be, just to score some pot, whatever. They've got all that information on you in case they need to use it.
Yeah, right. But it's just funny because, him in particular, like I was recently reading one of the people who worked as a producer for Bill O'Reilly, they were talking about what had happened during his sexual harassment scandals and how he would come into the office and just like stare everyone down and nobody would be looking at him because they didn't want to challenge him. And so like I get that even if he didn't have his personal history, he'd be worked up about this, but the screaming, it's because he's got stuff on more recent phone calls that he does not want being leaked to the press.
Oh, of course! Do you know how many times he called the falafel store?